Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here to talk about the new recording of Messiaen's Tarantula-Symphony. The Turangalila-Symphonie. You know what I mean, don't you? Featuring Andris Nelsons, the Boston Symphony, Yuja Wang, and actually there's someone else who no one ever remembers who plays the Ondes Martenot. There she is, Cécile Lartigau. There we go. You got to give her credit, too, because there aren't that many Ondes Martenots out there, and we have to cherish the ones that we have. It's such a bizarre instrument. In case you're wondering what an Ondes Martenot is, it's kind of like a theremin. Does that help? No, it's one of these electronic hoogies that goes, ooh, ooh. You use them in film noir, and they make glissandos and things, and they're just totally cool. Anyway. Boy, have the fangs been out for this recording. I can't believe it. The comments, someone says it's a hot mess. Somebody says it's totally unnecessary. Someone says that good grief. And to make it even crazier, DG hasn't even released it as a physical product yet. Maybe they will some year. Who knows? I don't know if they're going to or if they're not going to. They've only released it as a streaming thing, which is how I listen to it. And I have to say, after having heard all of the dire predictions and seen all of the gleeful, vicious, oh my goodness, how could anybody be vicious? I'm such a sweet, sensitive soul. I was shocked by what people were saying about this recording. It's really very good. Sorry, folks. It really is. And I know. First of all, I have every single recording of the Turangalila-Symphonie ever made, number one. And number two, I've studied the score particularly well. I met Messiaen a couple of times. I've seen it live half a dozen times. I really kind of know this work because I love it. I think it's fabulous. I first got it when, the Toronto Symphony recording was released with Seiji Ozawa, coupled with Takemitsu's November Steps, way back in the 70s. Yeek. Sheesh. I got it sight unseen because I didn't know what the hell it was. We just had this local little record store, a tiny little record store in downtown Milford. It wasn't Merle's Record Rack. That moved. But it was still around in Orange somewhere now, if it still exists. But it was a different one. And they had this classical section that was this big, and it had just this hodgepodge of things in it. And one of them was that. It was a 2 LP set. I had no idea what it was. All I knew was that it was classical. And I liked classical. So I bought it. And the rest, as they say, is history. Anyway, I don't understand why everyone is out to get this recording. Does it have some issues? Yes. So let's deal with the elephant in the room, or should I say the skimpy, slinky elephantess in the room, and that is Yuja Wang. She plays fabulously. She really does. She just tears into the piano part, and it's exciting. And it's brilliant, and it's totally confident, and she's marvelous. So let's get that out of the way. And she's not balanced in a way that makes it sound like a piano concerto, I have to say. She's well integrated into the ensemble. She knows where she fits into the overall sonic frame. Good for her. Now, Nelsons and the Boston Symphony. First of all, the Boston Symphony is an amazing orchestra. They play very, very well. It's a difficult, it's an incredibly difficult work to do, especially to pull off live. And there are moments where I really think studio recording would have been better in this case because, Messiaen is not an emotionally expressive kind of guy. In the love themes, there's something there, but essentially and formally, you want precision, especially rhythmic precision. So there are moments when it seems like things are kind of going crazy, but there are moments when it sounds like things are going crazy in this piece. When everyone gets going, it does sound insane. So that's okay. It really is. But, a little bit more precision here and there would not have been amiss. It's not a terrible thing. The one movement that Nelson seems to have trouble with is the Chant d'amour 2, the second love song movement, where it's the one that begins with the woodwinds going doot 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 that thing. Well, he does it very, very quickly, really too quickly, because what's going to happen is that bloop 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 thing is going to reappear on top of the big love theme, and they're all going to get combined. And you wonder, because one is in a slow tempo, how the tempos are going to relate, and the answer is they sort of don't. The movement would cohere better if there were a little bit more attention paid to coordinating the different tempo areas. But that, I just sort of chalk that up to the spontaneity of a live recording. I mean, that's what it is. We've talked about live versus studio recordings, and this is a piece that really sort of needs a studio recording. The best performances, Previn and Shai and Salonen and Anthony Vitt and all those people were not live. They were studio recordings, and they really needed to be. And they benefit from that, no question about it. So there's that. But otherwise, I mean, it's often exciting as hell. I really like what Nelsons does with the two kooky fast movements, the Joy of the Blood of the Stars and the finale, or finale in French, because, there are a couple of ways to do it. In a way, this symphony suffers from the Bruckner Seventh Syndrome. The Bruckner Seventh Syndrome is that the end of the first movement is so glorious that when Bruckner does essentially the same thing for the end of the finale, it's just a letdown. And that's what happens as often as not in the Turangalila Symphony. It really is. And here he takes the Joy of the Blood of the Stars a little bit slower. Actually, it's really right, spot on tempo-wise with the original performances by like Ozawa and people like that. I mean, this was difficult music, and it wasn't played as fast as people can do it today. I mean, quite often it's done too quickly. Anyway, it still sounds completely nuts as it goes, as it builds up. But he takes it a little bit slower, which is fine, so that he can take the finale, which is quite similar, a bit quicker. And it's very exciting. The finale is really a rip snorter of a finale. It's really, really exciting. And he hangs on to that last chord forever. I mean, he gets it. He understands, that there's an issue of balance and emphasis there. And he resolves it. And good for him. Not everybody does it that way. You could do it the other way. Take the Joy of the Blood of the Stars faster in the finale to make it a little weightier. I mean, you've got many options. And they all work. They all work at their various. And Messiaen endorsed everything. Whenever Messiaen heard it, he said, it's the best performance I ever heard, even if it sucked. So what are you going to say? The bottom line is, this is a very, very exciting performance. It's a live performance. It has some of the issues of balance occasionally, and other things that happen in live performances of a work of this size and complexity. I mean, really, so for all the people who are screaming and jumping up and down and, trying to trash it, no. I'm sorry, folks. You're wrong. It's that simple. It would have been a very exciting evening at the symphony. It really would. And I wish I could have been there, and I'm happy to have heard it. It's not going to replace my favorites. Or what I consider to be the best recordings out there. That is, the original Ozawa, Shai, Anthony Vitt on Naxos, as I mentioned, Esa-Pekka Salonen on Sony. There are some really stunning performances of this particular work. Is this one of them? Well, maybe not. But as a souvenir of a thrilling live event, I'm sold. And you probably would be too. You might want to download it if it's inexpensive, or if you can sample it and give it a shot. And see what you think. You have to listen to the whole thing. Can't take little pieces. You've got to let it do its thing. And it does. It definitely succeeds as an exciting performance of the Turangalila-Symphonie. Does it need to be preserved for all time? I don't know. But if DG does issue a physical product, I'm going to grab it, because I think it belongs in the pantheon of better Turangalila-Symphonie recordings. I really do. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.